Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your girl Pebbles, aka Mother O'Shea Ashe. I hope you're having a good day so far. Welcome to my channel. Today's video will be about the word capacity. Yep, capacity. I was standing at the kitchen sink washing dishes, where I get a lot of my thoughts from. I think a lot of my best thoughts, in my opinion, while I'm washing dishes, even though I hate washing dishes, but that's not the point. And the word capacity came to mind, and I wanted to break it down in a way where it relates to mind, body, soul, in order to bring awareness on how we need to work and be aware of things we're carrying that's not serving us, right? But before we get into that, please do me these three things. Please subscribe. Thanks to everyone that has subscribed already. Please like and please hit that notification bell, so when I upload new videos, you'll be able to see them. And one more thing, so 4 things I need you to do. Also, share. Please share. I appreciate it, right? So look, let's jump into it. So I'm standing at the kitchen sink and the word capacity comes to me. And I'm like, okay, capacity. Okay, so the word capacity, it means the max amount of something, the maximum amount that something can contain, right? And so I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, capacity. It's a weight limit, right? And then I think I have to always use an analogy or give myself an example in order to expand on the thought. And then I thought about an elevator. So whenever you get onto an elevator, you know how on a up over the buttons, they'll have like the fire marshal code, and it tells you the weight limit and or capacity of individuals that can be on the elevator before you become in a danger zone, right? Before it can possibly be out of order, before it becomes so dangerous that while you're being transported up, it can just drop while people are on it, right? They put that capacity limit and or a sign on the elevator above the button so people can be aware. And so that instantly came to my mind about the elevator. Give me 1 second, I need some water, some high quality H2O. So after I thought about the capacity of an elevator, I thought about something I learned years ago in psychology class. In fact, I used to always get the class. I used to always be able to, when I'm about to tell you, say to the teacher, because I was ready to go, this one thing that we were taught, and get early dismissal from class when I would bring this up. And so in psychology, you're taught that the brain can only contain a certain amount, a capacity of information before, at a certain point, the person that has the brain, right, they just is going in one end out the other. So the brain can only contain 2.5 petabytes of information before anything else you hear after that 2.5 is going in one ear and out the other. And this is scientifically proven, right? And so even our brains have a capacity, a max amount of space or storage, before it's just like overload. Everything else, that's coming after that, it's just this overload, and you're really not paying attention to it. You're not aware of it. And that can be a good thing depending upon what it is, and it can also be very dangerous, right? And so when you think of petabytes, petabytes is the measurement of memory, right? And so once you hit that 2.5, you won't have memory of anything else you heard, you saw, you felt after that, because you are now in overload. Your capacity has reached its limit, right? So when we relate it to mind, body, and soul, I thought about how with all that we see going on, and we don't have to, in the world, right, in general, but also in our little small micro corners of the people that we know, right? And our family structures and dynamics, and our friendships and that dynamic, right? And we have people, and it could be us, right, that's operating on the capacity level of themselves and we start seeing behaviors that aren't healthy for the individual and or the people that are around said individual, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times people aren't even aware that they have reached their capacity. They're just acting out, they're doing things, they're moving in action, and don't even understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. And the people on the other end of that, I would also say, maybe haven't thought about, okay, well, this person's acting like that because they've reached their mental capacity, right? They've reached their emotional capacity. They've reached their physical capacity. They've reached their spiritual capacity. So this is why they're acting like that. I would venture to say that most people just mix it off as, oh, that person's just a nasty person. That person's mean. That person's rude. You know, it's just not a good person. When that could be true, but we got to start digging deeper, because it's easy to point the finger, right? It's easy to do that, right? It's easier to judge, because most of the time we judge unconsciously. Most of the time it's just an automatic thing, because we all been taught to do that. Instead of saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, this behavior could be coming from that person's, they've reached their 2.5, right? They've reached that weight restriction. And so now, just like the elevator that can become out of order or dangerous, now that person is now out of order mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Now this person is, you know, they're in the danger zone mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, right? And so I guess the point of this video is I tried to use things like what I'm doing, words, to relate it to mind, body, and soul, in order for people to understand how important self-care is, to understand how important mental health, emotional health, physical health, spiritual health is. Like, it's all important. Oftentimes, you know, I'm talking to people and they're so stressed out, and they don't know what to do. Oftentimes, because I'm one who meditates a lot, you know, so people reach out and ask me questions, how can I do it? You know, I hear a lot, well, I've tried meditation, but it just doesn't work for me. I can't do it. I'm just a person that can't meditate. My mind won't sit still. My mind won't stop. So I just gave up. And I always tell people, the thing is about meditation, first of all, you have to crawl before you walk. People that you see in a lotus pose or laying down, whatever they're doing, right? And they hum and they're looking peaceful. They didn't just wake up one day and get to that place. It took them time. It took them months and years to get to a place where they can find stillness and peace within themselves while meditating. So first and foremost, stop trying to be and do what other people do. I also tell them that the gag is, and I did a video about this before, why do you assume that the person that has reached a level of meditation and stillness, why do you assume that their mind isn't racing? Why do you assume that, you know, they've been able to shut down their mind? That's not the case. The gag is you're finding stillness and peace and serenity within your mind being all over the place. You're not going to shut your mind down. It's not going to stop. Only time that's going to happen is when you are physically and clinically dead. Your mind is never going to stop racing. And so that's why you're meditating, to learn how to find stillness and peace and oneness, serenity, calmness, and self while your mind is all over the place. That's the trick. Finding control in that and letting your mind do whatever it is it needs to do, and it's not going to bother and or affect you, right? And so we have to learn how to be aware when we have reached our mental capacity, our emotional capacity, our physical capacity, and our spiritual capacity. We have to be aware that once it is at its max amount, we got to step back and say, no, enough is enough. I'm not okay right now. I need to go have a seat somewhere, and I need to work on me. I need to put everything to the side as much as I can in order to work on me. Because when you show up and you're at your max, you're at your 2.5. You don't remember things, you're foggy, you're depressed, you're stressed out, some suicidal, you're angry, you are resentful, you're nasty, you're tired and fatigued, and it's not serving you, and it's most certainly not serving the people around you. And especially if you are someone that's taking care of somebody, whether it be your children, elderly parents, a spouse, whoever, whether you are in the workplace, no matter where you are, it's not serving anyone. It's actually bringing toxicity to that circle, to that group, in the atmosphere. And so it's important for us to figure out, or to know, have that discernment and self to say, I have reached my max. I have reached my capacity. I am over 2.5. And at this point, I can't take anything else in. And that's okay. It is good to know that it's okay to say that you're not okay. Many of us been taught that just keep going and going and going, and you're weak when you can't do something. It's nothing wrong with being weak. You know why? Because life is balance, right? I always say this, life is balance. And you have to have the good with the bad in order to balance it out. You can't live a life of all good, because where are your lessons going to come from? Because lessons come out of struggle. Lessons come out of trauma. Lessons come out of things that aren't good, right? And so if you're allowing yourself time to be in the thick of that lesson, that trauma, that trouble, and not have the perception of, oh, why me, I'm the victim, and that could all be true. But not just sitting in that and running with that. If you can sit in that lesson, have your little moment of why me, but then say, all right, let me snap out of this. What is the lesson within this situation that I can gain in order to be back to a place where I'm happy, right? Because again, it's that scale of balance. It's that scale of good and bad. It's that scale of needing both in order to operate and function in life. You can't have one without the other. You can't have more than the other without the other. So it's a balance. We have to learn when we've reached our capacity. Because if we continue to go on like we're going on, we will continue to see the things that we see in the world. The nonsense killing, the suicide rates shooting up. And I mean, even not just in adults, and younger children. I was just somewhere the other day, and I was told that I think it was an 8 or 9 year old boy committed suicide. And I'm like, whew, what is he stressed out about? What is this baby stressed out about? And I'm not saying that he can't be stressed out, because we all can be stressed out no matter what age. Babies in the womb are stressed out if the mother is stressed out, right? So we all can be stressed out. So it's not about the age. But what is this baby going through that he felt as though he didn't want to live anymore at 8 and 9 years old, right? At 8 and 9 years old, this child has already reached his capacity. And his only way out of the situation was to literally go out physically, right? And so it's just important to take time for yourself to do a lot of self-reflection or self-reflecting, to indulge in self-care, to look in the mirror and really see who's looking back. And I don't mean on a physical realm, to really dig deep, because the question and the answer start with you. Alpha and Omega, right? Everything starts with you. Too many of us are trying to fix issues outwardly, right? When the issue is here. Even if somebody else caused the issue and or situation, we need to go deep in order to learn how to respond to it. Respond to the situation in a proper way, in the right way, so you can heal from it or grow from it or elevate from it. Not dwell on a lower frequency of that situation, which again is not going to serve you. So self-care is really important. To be selfish is a good thing. I don't mean the selfish where you're not giving to people, you're not helping people. The selfish where you're being selfish to yourself when you're saying, I need a moment to myself. I need to disconnect, right? I need to get some of this weight off of my internal elevator, right? I need to slash down that 2.5, right? So I can have better memory, so I can feel good, so I can work in the highest frequency of myself, right? Meditation is a beautiful thing to help you do that. Even if you're just doing it for 5 or 10 minutes a day or a couple of days during the week. That's a start. Really starting to dive in deep and figure out what's going on with you. I know a lot of people can't meditate in silence. So we're in the 21st century. You can Google it. There's so many different styles of meditation. You can do guided meditation where somebody's voice is taking you there. You can do just singable, sounds. There's so many different things. I don't even have to name them because you can Google it. We can Google anything else that's not helping us. Let's Google something that's going to help us. Let's start Googling things that's going to help us, right? And also, what I think is important, a lot of people get caught up in the rules of meditation. I am one who believes that there are no rules. You do what you need to do for you. There are many pathways to get to the same place, right? So do what works for you. Don't try to copy off of somebody else. And don't fully take in what everybody's saying. So I'm saying to you, you need to meditate. But you do it how you need to do it. Meditation don't mean that you hum. You could be listening to some music. But you have to be intentional in the meditation. That's what it is. You got to be intentional in whatever style meditation you do. Whatever style meditation you create. Because the style of meditations that we know of, somebody created it, right? Right. So who's to say you can't create your own? The point is being intentional in it, and then it's meditation. Make sure you're focused in it, and then it's meditation. If you're being phony and inauthentic, it's not meditation. You're just being phony, right? And so be transparent with yourself. Start listening to yourself, listening to the universe, listening to source, because those things are always telling us when we reached our capacity, when we're past our 2.5 petabytes, when anything after that is just going in one ear out the other, and we're missing opportunities, we're missing important things, we're missing out on people that's trying to help us. We got to get better. We got to get better. And I will relate one more thing to this, and that's the Crown Chakra. When we meditate, be intentional. You can do meditations for the chakras. We have 7 chakras. We really have more than that, but you always hear about the main 7, starting down from the root, going up to the crown. So let's clear up our Crown Chakra. Let's balance that. Because when we're not balanced, we have all these issues, things that are not good for us. But when we're balanced, it's clarity there, right? We can see things better, right? So when you're meditating, make sure you're working on the Crown Chakra in order to get that mental health stuff together, right? One day I'm gonna do a video on all the chakras to really break it down. But I hope this makes sense. I hope this video helps someone to start paying attention to your capacity levels, your maximum amount of weight you're carrying mentally, emotionally, physically, and or spiritually, before you go off the deep end and start reacting in behaviors that aren't kind and loving and helpful. But more importantly, make sure you're being kind to yourself first. You got to treat yourself better first, or treat yourself right first. You can't expect or demand people to treat you with kindness, or you can't expect people to treat you good if you're not treating yourself good. Can't do that. Can't do it. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave your comments below. Again, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and please share. Namaste and Ashe. Peace.